All right, we got to talk about Rahm Emanuel. I know, again, we're bringing up Rahm Emanuel. Why are we bringing up Rahm Emanuel? Well, yesterday I was on Sab's show, and I want to talk about the aftermath of being on her show. It was, first of all, a real privilege to be speaking with Sabrina, as well as have being part of a panel with Jamal Green as well. Jamal Green, one of the dauntless few here in Chicago that's been speaking truth to power, that's been holding a lot of these politicians accountable. And we were speaking about whether or not Rahm Emanuel is gearing to run for president. I want to pull up this tweet here. I want to give a huge shout out to Case Study QB as well. But this is in regards towards Rahm Emanuel gearing up to run for president.
He was mayor of Chicago, among other things. A horrible choice. I have already seen some Democrats, some progressive Democrats on social media that said if this happens, they are absolutely done with the Democratic Party.
He's not going to run for president. He's just, he just wants to be talked about. But he again is using this as leverage. Rahm Emanuel and J.B. Pritzker are close friends, and their Jewish families are very close. And so, at the end of the day, J.B. Pritzker is running for president. That we do know. And at the end of the day, y'all gonna have to help Illinois save us from Rahm Emanuel, because at some point this year, you're gonna see a sharp pivot, and you're gonna see Rahm Emanuel trying to run for public office right here in this state. Hopefully, JD, when Dick Durbin steps down, hopefully they don't broker a deal to appoint Rahm Emanuel as U.S. senator and make it to where he's appointed rather than him run for it, even though he'll still run, but he'll be appointed as U.S. senator. Trust me, it's a lot of crazy things that's going to happen in Illinois, from the governor's race to the Senate race. And we got to be paying attention over the next.
We need help. And the thing is, like, it's going to be 2026 when that election cycle happens. We're going to be talking about Jamal. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be inviting you on my show to talk about this as well. But everyone, let's drill this in your head. What's wrong with Rahm Emanuel? Unchecked political corruption, gentrification in neighborhoods, the black sites where, again, harsh interrogations were being used. You have, again, environmental racism. You have political corruption, the cover up of the murder of Laquan McDonald, and so much more. They're shutting down, and half the mental health facilities, too.
And of course, we also want to add, if like the foreign policy perspective, again, he supported the Iraq war. So everyone remember that.
Every bad war we had.
Right. When you think about 2008 housing crisis, he was a part of that. So don't forget about those things.
And so why is this important to talk about? Because look, in Illinois, it's a matter, there's a huge power vacuum right now. So what happened here in Illinois, and I brought this up on Sabrina's show as well. First of all, there is a lack of leadership for the Democrat machine. All right, Mayor Brandon Johnson, his approval rating is at 6%. It's abysmal. Already, after November 5th, 2 districts here in Chicago were Republican red. That hasn't happened in such a long time that even I was shocked by those electoral results on November 5th, because that doesn't happen. Before the DNC convention took place, there was an attempt to recall and remove Mayor Brandon Johnson. And there was a wide coalition, not only just conservatives, but I'm talking about progressive Democrats. I'm talking about independents. I'm talking about libertarians. I'm talking about Greens. I'm talking about everybody, no matter their color, creed, race, or religion. There is a growing coalition that is despising Rahm Emanuel and hating Rahm Emanuel. Not only Rahm Emanuel. Let me restate that again. Brandon Johnson. Okay, Brandon Johnson. But see, the thing is, Mayor Brandon Johnson and his former predecessor, Mayor Lori Lightfoot, are the continuation of the failed policies of former Mayor Rahm Emanuel. This is all nothing but unchecked corruption. Even then, Mayor Brandon Johnson still had people from Lightfoot's administration and Emanuel's administration part of his new administration. So already we're seeing a system of ongoing continuous corruption. We're seeing a system of ongoing continuous lack of accountability. And the thing is, there is a fear that now that there's a vacuum, since Mayor Brandon Johnson is in such a weak position, who will fly in? Now, I don't see Rahm Emanuel running for mayor, but there's another seat that's vacant, and that is, well, the position for Illinois House Speaker. There's also what comes with it. There's the head of the DNC chair. Many of you might not know this, but in Illinois, former Speaker of the House, Michael Madigan, was also the head of the DNC chair here in Illinois. That's got a lot of power to it. And at the local level, the SCCC are what the people pick who will be the next Democrat Party chair here in Illinois. There's a lot to be done for and designed for. And I would be very concerned for people who are right now watching this to understand that Emanuel does have a lot of push and pull, and he does have a lot of close connections to the Pritzker family, of course, as well as, since some of you may not notice, but J.B. Pritzker is also the governor of Illinois. Money in politics plays a huge role here in this state, and there's a lack of real transparency. So Rahm Emanuel returning back into politics, whether or not he actually would run for president, is something to be seen. Do I think he'll do it? After that conversation with Jamal Green and Sabrina, I'm in the camp of 50-50. There's a chance if he has enough capital behind him, he could. But there are positions here in Illinois that might have more value. But I do want to give a huge shout out to Sabrina for having myself and Jamal Green on her show, especially talking about Chicago politics, because in 2027 is going to be our city municipal election. I only can wonder who's going to show up to run for that seat. Mayor Brandon Johnson, in my opinion, is most likely going to be removed and won't make it through the primary. But I'm also curious about who will also step up. Because after November 5th, the grounds for a Republican candidate, a Libertarian candidate, a Green candidate, an Independent candidate could step up. The machine is sputtering, and in Illinois, it's been the central hub for the Democrat Party, especially at the national level. Chicago is going to be a battleground city, and 2027, in my opinion, will be that election year.
It is the best $3 billion investment we make. Whether or not in Israel, the United States of America would have to invent an Israel to protect her interest in the region. The United States would have to go out and invent an Israel.
I don't mean to sound alarmist, but most of what they let you read is garbage. Most of it's designed to warp our minds until subconsciously you find you'll take the time to lick their boots free of grime and wipe their minds free of tarnish. Oil is the centerpiece, a body count of millions is the garnish. So how's it feel to know we funded every carcass? That every year our taxes pay for carpet bombing Gaza under shroud of darkness? Or that we spend enough a year to house and feed each homeless person in the streets on turning families in apartment buildings in the Middle East to bloody craters full of charred garments? And our media is silent at best. At worst, they can find it in themselves to call war crimes clashes and label children burned to ashes terrorists who played a stupid game and reaped the harvest. And every time we try to paint the truth, the news sends their slugs to suck off all the varnish and distort it into something harmless. See, the media will hang you by your feet and keep you half asleep. So yes, I'm here to set you free, but freedom won't be sweet because you'll fall 1,000 feet when I come cut you out your harness. They say those who dream the deepest fall the farthest. They also say that home is where the heart is. But if home for you is Gaza, Netanyahu's got you painted as a target. Perhaps it's not the impact, but it's what you see when falling that will hit the hardest. Maybe it's the sound of all those children crying out in those apartments that will hit the hardest. Maybe all those little bodies scattered in the dirt will hit the hardest. Maybe seeing human lives assigned such little worth will hit the hardest. Maybe it's the knowledge that you're paying for the darkest of atrocities committed on this earth that will hit the hardest. Maybe it's the knowledge that we give 10 million a day to oppressors who possess the kind of Medicare you'll die in debt before you see that's gonna hit the hardest. Maybe then you'll see you've always had more in common with the commoners whose slaughter we fund every day in Gaza than our senators and bosses. Maybe then you'll see our country never had a conscience. Maybe then the retroactive guilt will make you nauseous. Maybe what hits harder than the impact is the act of being conscious, of knowing your complicity and helplessness to try and stop the bloody deeds of Congress. And that no matter who's in office, America preserves its foreign interests by whatever means its greed demands, however monstrous. You see, we'll always need a place to drain our contras. And Biden's got a backup plan should harm befall the Holy Land. Wipe it off the map, he'll draw it back on with an iron hand. He demands an Israel or reasonable effigy to exercise democracy and colonize the Middle East. Regardless of the human cost of phosphorus atrocities, bought and paid with money they rerouted out the budget for the non-essential things like ever making Flint's water clean. So maybe what hits hardest is the day you see this country for its actual priorities, and nevermore no honest peace attempting sleep. Maybe then you'll look at politicians making speeches like a blood-encrusted beast espousing destiny to empty seats and fellow leeches. As the gauntlet of democracy extends its brutal reach, like a giant wave of trash come to crash on foreign beaches. Maybe build a base, throw a flag down, and heavily pollute the region. Rape your ecosystems, gut your fauna, and congratulate you on your new allegiance. Oops, we mean alliance. This is something mutual unless you're non-compliant. We stole something crucial on which you can be reliant. So maybe what hits hardest is the centrists saying both sides need to stop the violence. And those would be the very same centrists saying we should all accept police brutality, who hem and haw and clutch their fucking pearls and spend their time condemning riots. But very soon will come the day the centrists all get censored like the rest of us, and pious as they'll try to be, they won't stay quiet. But they'll just end up shouting in the void that they were also quick to render us subscribers. And it will be too late to light the fires. So far away tonight, there burn the spires of a region set ablaze for which you've paid for every pyre. Which is why your checks weren't all $600 higher. And call it foreign interests or American desires. This is why your checks weren't all $600 higher. Far away tonight, there burn the spires of a region set ablaze for which you've paid for every pyre. Foreign interests or American desires. This is why your checks weren't all $600